Hi, welcome to Physionic, where we learn the body from the macro to the micro. If that's something you think you'd be interested in, then consider subscribing. With that out of the way, today I'm going to teach you how to reduce your cholesterol with exercise. You will probably need a pen and paper so that you can figure out the calculations. Very simple calculations, but if you're serious about actually changing your health and improving your health in terms of reducing cholesterol, then I would highly recommend you go grab a pen and paper. With that said, the issue that you have is that you have high cholesterol. Be that in total cholesterol, your total cholesterol is above 200 milligrams per deciliter, and you have high LDL cholesterol being at or above 100 milligrams per deciliter, and some organizations set it as high as 130 milligrams per deciliter or higher. So why is that an issue before we actually get into the applied section? Well, LDL cholesterol takes the cholesterol that's found in your intestines that you consume, as well as what's found in your liver, and delivers it to all the tissues. So you can imagine if you have excess cholesterol levels, then you're going to have excess LDL levels. The other problem is that this particle, because it is a particle, it's an actual molecule made up of protein and fat and cholesterol, of course, because it houses cholesterol, is actually rather large. So it's low density, it's very large by comparison to its counterpart, which is high density lipoprotein, which is another type of cholesterol, which is considered good cholesterol. So that's where I'll leave that. So if you have high LDL levels, then you typically have high of this bad cholesterol. It goes far more complicated than that, but for this video, that's where I'll leave it. Now, in terms of total cholesterol, now this usually goes hand in hand. If you have high LDL, you typically have high total cholesterol, and the reason being that you have a lot of cholesterol in your system, and it has to go somewhere, so it gets packaged up into these lipoprotein molecules and then gets sent to all the different parts of your body. And your body uses cholesterol, and that's a good thing, but when it doesn't need any more cholesterol, then it just sits in your bloodstream, and that's an issue. So that's why you've got high total cholesterol and high LDL cholesterol. Okay, now we've talked about cholesterol, we've talked about LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol. We understand how it impacts our body. And now we need to find a solution with exercise. Now, the American College of Sports Medicine uses a recommendation of using moderate intensity exercise for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, leading to 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. Now, that moderate intensity exercise is set at 40% to 60%, so a range of 40% to 60% of what's known as heart rate reserve. However, we are not going to use that method because it's too complicated. So all I've done is used a very simple equation. So this is where I need you to pull out your pen and paper that I mentioned earlier, and we are going to subtract 220 minus your age. So if you are 30 years old, that would be 220 minus 30. That leaves you with 190. If you are a different age, then of course you're going to have a different number. That number represents your heart rate maximum. So the maximum heart rate that your heart rate can reach. And that's predicted. Of course, if you were to actually go in the field and actually try and emulate that, you might actually reach higher than that. But this is just a prediction equation. Then from there, you're going to take that number that you got and multiply that by 0.5, and then take that number again, so whatever you got from 220 minus your age, so that number again, and multiply that by 0.7. Those two numbers that you got from multiplying with 0.5 and 0.7, that's going to be your range for your moderate intensity. And that's what we're going to stick to. It's not perfect. There are several issues with that, but for this purpose, for a very simplistic understanding of how to begin to lower your cholesterol with cardiovascular exercise, those are the two numbers you should stick to. So now what you're going to need is preferably you would want a heart rate monitor, and then you can just measure as you're jogging or walking or whatever means you're going to use. You need to stay within that range of that heart rate for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, leading to 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise. Hopefully that was informative. If it was, then I would certainly appreciate if you subscribe, share the video, and with that said, hopefully I have the pleasure of speaking with you next time. Have a good one. See ya.